there, I'm Danielle. Welcome back to my channel, or if you haven't been here before, welcome. I am going to put two foundations to the test today. I've been looking for a luminous finish dewy foundation, and I went into Sephora and I got samples of the new Mercier, God, I'm gonna butcher it now, Lumiere Radiance Flawless Foundation. I don't know, something with like Lumiere in it. And then the Dior Forever New Skin Glow Foundation that they extended to the Dior Forever line. So I've tried each of these like once or twice, but I've never tried them together, kind of in trying to figure out which one I wanted. And I wanted to try and do one on each side of my face today and kind of compare them, put them up against each other. And I thought it was a nice day because I usually don't have a lot to cover. If I'm being totally honest, I have a little bit of like pigmentation that I like to cover, like right here, and pores and like a little uneven skin tone. But I have a few tiny little spots kind of appearing all over my face, so I'll have a better metric on both halves of my face if I'm being like the most honest. So yeah, I wanted to try these out. I'm really curious to see how they compete with each other. I went to Sephora and got actual like samples. I had someone shade match me for the Mercier. I kind of saw comparisons in the old Dior Forever, which is now apparently more like the matter version, and then there's the Skin Glow as well. I am shade 20, which is like a perfect shade match for me. So I heard that 1.5N is the sort of equivalent in the newer releases. And in Lumiere, I am Macadamia, which I think is 2W1. The thing I would say with the Mercier, is if you don't find if the shades are going up and it's getting too dark for you, I would and you haven't found your shade, I would keep going, because it's one of those ranges where it's kind of almost by tone, so it'll get darker and then there'll randomly be like a lighter one and then it'll get kind of darker again. Like they're not totally in order from lightest to darkest. So yeah, let's go ahead. I'm gonna prime my face with I also got a sample of the Mercier hydrating primer, which I actually think I might buy. I have the Radiance primer right now. Never had the hydrating one, but I figure it'll be a nice level playing field if I put these on both halves of my face. And for reference, actually, my skin is combination, but my dry is very dry. I'm eczema prone, dehydrated. Right now, I will say it's presenting more normal with my skincare routine. I only get I get dry around my lips and like under my chin. And I don't get super oily, but also it's like 12 degrees here, so it's not that ridiculous to not be producing a ton of oil. I'm gonna put my bangs up actually, since we're doing foundation. Or just keep them like this. Or not. Okay, so I guess we'll start on this side of the face with the Mercier, and this side of the face I'll put the Dior. Again, the one thing I know, it's so crazy, I don't even care if it comes off at the end of the day, but the one thing I like to cover that makes me feel like I'm like done is this sort of just like these veins on my face, and then there's a few spots. So these are what I'm always like, if I can tell how much coverage foundation has, like that's what I use to do it. And so let's go straight into I have to like look at them again and figure out now, of course, that they're next to each other. I don't know which one's which. Let's put the Mercier over here, like I mentioned. I'm gonna just do this with my finger and try and blend it out with my finger. She suggested the specific Mercier sales associate that happened to be in Sephora when I was there suggested putting it on with fingers or a sponge, actually, not with a brush. I wonder why, but since it comes in these Sephora sample pots, it's sort of too small to get a sponge into, so I figure I'll just do it with my fingers. Oh, and this is, I think I mentioned this already, the shade Macadamia, which was matching me really well, but in the camera here, it doesn't look like it is. Looking in my other mirror. So I would definitely say this has a medium coverage. I'm getting like a little streaking in doing it with my fingers. It's not like my favorite. I will probably go over this with a sponge next. It has covered my veining, but you can still see some like redness on my cheek, which happens a lot with me in foundations actually, for some reason on my cheeks. It is going over my, like, I have pretty big pores in my, you know, T-zone and cheeks. It's going over them fine. Nothing like amazingly great, but nothing particularly bad. Also, pause. Sorry I a lot. Not a professional. I don't need to see comments about it, but I'm trying to be conscious of it. And in life, it's a thing I should stop doing, really. This is the Dior. But, there I was again. Yeah, not the best, but we're getting better every day. Progress, not perfection. Okay, so this is going on really nice. I mean, if you know Dior foundations, this is heavily fragranced. I didn't check if this was, but I kind of don't think it was. This just smells like foundation to me. This smells like my grandmother's perfume. I mean, it's intense. So is the other one that I'm obsessed with too, so it's like I wasn't expecting anything less. This is actually going on a little bit nicer, although pretty streaky. I will also just tap over everything, I guess, with a sponge afterwards. And yeah, I feel like I have the same sort of like light medium coverage. I mean, it's probably pretty buildable. That is too. I would say the old Dior Forever is like a solid medium coverage that you can build to a full. I mean, I don't, so I can't. I've like kind of built it up in spots, but it's not really the look I'm going for. So now we have, without, just with fingers, we have them both on the sides of our face. So again, this is the Mercier side. And this is, the lighting in here is not ideal, is it? It is the Dior side. I mean, this shade is a touch bit darker. They have similar undertones, but a touch darker than this shade. But I don't think, like in real life, you'll be able to tell that much, or fingers crossed. I'm gonna want my beauty blender. Okay, we'll go over all of this with a sponge. That looks much better. This sponge has no product on it. Okay, so I don't really have, they're sitting super similarly. Can't tell if one, neither is like particularly dewy, to be honest. They just kind of have a very like skin-like finish. I mean, I know I just put the sponge like right over them, but they're not greasy or anything of that nature. Yeah, you know, they're on pretty evil or level playing field right now. Around my mouth, it's looking like a little cakey, and that's where I'm the driest. And that's my big thing with dewy foundations, and why I actually don't really have one or use one, is every time I try one, it either cakes up or breaks up on my skin. Didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it hasn't been a success in the past, despite having dry skin. Like, I always am trying to find one that works, and then I'll like go in and even like try it in Sephora, or put it on my hand, or like put it somewhere, and it just doesn't happen for me. So when I tried each of these on their own, it looked really nice, so I figured in deciding which one to purchase, try and pit them against each other. So I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup, and then I'll show you what it looks like under that, and then try and show you a couple times throughout the day. But again, this is the final sort of look with the different sides. Dior and Mercier. Okay, so all done. I mean, I'll have to style my bangs again, but makeup's all done. It's a little heavier than honestly I would go for a normal day, but happens sometimes. Go a little crazy. But yeah, this is the finished makeup. No real issues. Blending on top of it. I should mention I do not powder my face. I use powdered products on my face, but rarely, only in special occasions do I put down like a loose setting powder on my face. So this is still unpowdered, which will probably not make it last as long, but we'll see what it's sort of looking like. And then I use the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye concealer, which is also pretty dewy. So like right in here, some of that dew, you can even, it's sort of catching on camera how like that's way dewier than my skin, but in person it kind of looks equal enough in texture that it makes sense. So that's the finished look. We will see you later and let you know how it's going. Bye. Hi. So I've had this on for about 6 hours. I'm gonna get more like better light. I wanted to show it to you in natural light and also how it's worn. So this is the Laura Mercier side and this is the Dior side. Pick my bangs up. Dior side, Laura Mercier side. I mean, all in all, it like didn't seem like I had 2 foundations on today, which thank God. But it's still actually covering this like veining, not all the way, but more than most foundations do by the end of the day. I did have my like hands on my chin a lot and I rubbed my nose a lot, so it's like worn off a teeny bit in those places, both sides. This side though is like separating a teeny bit more. It doesn't look like as smooth on my skin. I mean, they're both pretty bad around the nose. I don't know if you can see. And this side seems a little bit dewier. Let's see if I can get like more equal lighting. I don't know if you can tell, but in like when I look close up in the mirror, this side seems a little bit dewier than this side. It looks kind of the same on camera. But if we get really into like the forehead, I was noticing like the Dior side definitely just like looks like it's kind of coming, you know, it feels like there's foundation there. It's sort of coming off of my pores a bit. And even sort of on the chin, there's like spots where it's breaking up just enough that you can tell like something's there, whereas this side I think is fading a little more naturally, which for me is what I'm really looking for. Like I'm okay with my foundation wearing off, like that's normal. Like I don't need it to be like so perfect all day. I just want it to wear off in a way such that like you can't really tell that I had foundation on, sort of just look like my skin. But you know, I'll keep it on for the rest of the night. I'm gonna touch up my makeup to go out tonight. I've had this on, I don't know if I said, for about 6 hours right now. So I finished around 11 and it's about 5 now. So not bad for that long at all. I mean, same thing, it doesn't look, neither side looks like, oh, your foundation's wearing off and you look really crazy, which is why I kind of like a medium coverage, so it's not as obvious. But here we are. I think if I had to purchase one based on what I was saying, I mean, they're super similar, and I think if you have a better shade match in one versus the other, you know, or if you don't like as much fragrance, I'd go with Laura Mercier versus Dior. If you love Dior and you have your perfect shade, I'd go with Dior. I'd probably, after this, go with the Laura Mercier side. At first, when I first put them on, they were pretty matte, and I was like, oh, is this gonna get like dewy? What's the sort of luminous part of this? But as the days went on, I mean, I definitely feel like I've more luminosity to my skin than I normally do, and I am digging it. So here's the face. I'll check back in with you at the end of the night. See you soon. Hi guys, final check-in. It's 10:30, so almost 12 hours with this on. Let's move my bangs so you can see my hair better, or my skin better, rather. Honestly, they look almost identical. It's really like nitpicky. The Dior I read claims 24 hours of wear, and the Laura Mercier claims 15, I believe. Take my glasses off. I showed friends and they couldn't tell that there were 2 different things. I mean, you can definitely see this is worn away, the like zone that I notice wearing away. I added more makeup to go out tonight, but not any complexion products. But, you know, pretty identical. I'm not disappointed in either. I think either would be a great buy. I did notice after my last check-in, I came and looked closer at my skin again, and my pores were a little more visible on the Laura Mercier side in here, which is where I have kind of the biggest texture-y pore problems. But really, like, small difference. Again, the Dior is super, super heavily fragranced. So despite loving, I mean, I do, again, love the original Dior Forever. That's a little more matte. I've been told the new matter version is even more matte than the original version, which is a little unattractive for me. So I think that if I were to purchase one, I think I'm going to actually go ahead and get the Laura Mercier, which is also, gosh, I'm going to mess up the prices now. I believe the Laura Mercier is $42 and the Dior is $52, each for a fluid ounce. So you're getting a better deal. They're really, really comparable products. Again, if your shade's better in one, if you don't like, the Dior has SPF, and I do not believe the Laura Mercier does. I mean, I use a separate SPF when I know I'm going to be out or even near when, you know, if I know I need it, but so I don't need to have it in my foundation. But all in all, they're really comparable. I'm not disappointed. I think either would be a great buy. They didn't do the things like a lot of other like luminous finish foundations do on me, and I was really pleased by that. Finally, there's like a couple that I know I can use. But I'm happy I tested them out because I was really unsure of what to get, and there didn't seem to be any head-to-heads up here for these two particular products, which, you know, are the, in my opinion, the two biggest, like, luxury or higher-end luminous foundation launches at Sephora right now. So hopefully this was helpful if you've been debating between these two. If you have either of them and you've been liking them or disliking them, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions. And if you're thinking about picking them up, I'd also love to hear that. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And that's it. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.